Hello students, welcome to the course on banking law and operations. In this class, we shall learn about customers and account holders who deal with banks. And here we see what are we going to learn. We learn concepts like mandate, Clayton's rule, account operating procedures in case of different persons, precautions to be taken by the bank. And why are we learning these? To be familiar with details related to account opening operations and understand how banks deal in special cases. Firstly, we shall take the case of minors. As you know, minors are those under the age of 18 years. But in two cases, case number one, a guardian is appointed by a court. Case number two, such minor's property is under the superintendence of court. In these two cases, the majority age is 21 years. In all other cases, majority age is 18 years. To inculcate the habit of savings, banks allow minors who are above the age of 10 years to open and operate deposit accounts with certain conditions attached to it. To open a minor's account, there are some formalities involved, like introduction from an existing account holder, identification proof, age proof, residence proof, and ID card from the school, and many other documents are sought. And the account is operated by the guardian himself or minor, subject to certain conditions. Conditions like withdrawal limit, deposit limit, number of transactions, signature, etc. And there are some privileges granted to minor, like no imposition of debt. A minor can never become a debtor. A minor can never become a debtor. He cannot take a debt from any person. Even if he takes credit from any person, such agreements are not valid. Except for necessaries, except for necessaries of life, food, clothing, shelter, all other contracts with minors are void. That is to say, you can never make a contract with a minor except for his necessaries. And he can work as an agent for his principal, and he can plead his minority to cancel a contract, and so on. Guardians may be of three types: testamentary guardian, legal guardian, and a natural guardian. Natural guardian is no other than the father of the minor, and after the death of father, the mother becomes the natural guardian. A legal guardian is a person appointed by the court of law. A father may appoint a guardian for his minor child by making a will, and such a guardian is called a testamentary guardian. He can act only after the death of the father or mother. In case a banker is compelled to grant a loan to a minor, he must observe the following conditions. The loan is granted either for the necessaries of his life against sufficient securities or against a joint promissory note in which one of the parties is an adult, but the promissory note actionable only against the adult or against an indemnity bond given by an adult. So one of these conditions must be met while giving a loan to a minor. Now, joint account holders. A joint account is an account opened by two or more persons. Instead of opening a separate account for each individual, they can open a single account operated by all or any of them, operated by any or all of them. Suppose there are three parties A, B and C. Instead of opening a separate savings account or current account for each individual, they come together and open a single account, joint account. There are some rules for claim of account. On the death of any of the joint account holders, the survivors are entitled to the whole amount. Suppose in this example, Mr. C dies. Then the joint account balance belongs to Mr. A and Mr. B. In case of death of all the joint account holders, nominees will get the whole amount. And there is no right of set-off in case of a joint account for the amounts due to the bank in an individual capacity. That means, suppose Mr. C has taken a loan from the bank. It cannot be adjusted against the joint account balance. Reverse can be done. If loan is taken in joint capacity, it can be adjusted against individual account. But reverse cannot be done. I mean, loan taken in individual capacity cannot be adjusted against joint account balance. Then, the banker must get a clear mandate. Mandate means account operating instructions. Mandate in writing containing instructions regarding who will operate the account, how it is to be operated, and their photos, signature, and drawing of checks. There are some instructions like we call this clauses. Either or survivor or former or survivor. Either or survivor means suppose there are two parties in a joint account. Okay. Either or survivor means either A or B can sign. Either A or B can sign. So A can also sign the checks. B can also sign the checks. So one of them will sign the checks until they are alive. Right? Survivorship means that only. Until they are alive. Suppose if A dies, B will continue signing the checks. Okay. Former or survivor. Former means the first one. The person whose name appears first in the mandate. The person whose name appears first in the mandate. He is called former. Okay. Or survivor. If the former dies, then the next person, second person appearing in the list, he will sign. If he also dies, then the next person, survivor, appearing in the list, like that. All to sign or jointly operated by all. All the parties should sign. So jointly operated by all or jointly signed by all means all the parties have to sign, whether 3 parties or 4 parties, how many holders are there in the account, all the parties have to sign. Then the details of the person with power to overdraw. Especially in the case of partnership, only some partners are given powers to overdraw. Okay, I mean to use the overdraft facility. So the banker must get details of those persons who are given with that power. And the bank has to stop transactions in case of insolvency, insanity, or death of the joint deposit holders. Next, partnership firms account. Indian Partnership Act 1932 defines partnership as a relation between persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. There are rules for opening and operating of a firm's account, like partnership letter should be signed by all the major partners stating the nature of business, names and addresses of all partners, along with operating instructions as to who will operate the account. And also a copy of partnership deed should be submitted at the time of opening the account. As you know, partnership deed is a contract. It is an agreement between the partners to carry on a business and to share profits and losses of such a business. And partnership deed also states powers, privileges, liabilities and duties of each and every partner. The bank must obtain a proper mandate on who will operate the account and drawing limits. In some cases, partners add a clause that beyond a particular limit, the check must be signed by all the partners. Suppose if it is a big amount, for example, beyond 10 lakhs. For 10 lakhs and above, all the partners must sign. And there are rules on combining partners' personal account and a firm's account. Here, there are two things. A loan taken in personal capacity, a loan taken in firm's capacity. A loan taken in personal capacity by a partner cannot be adjusted against firm's balance. But a loan taken in collective capacity or firm's capacity can be adjusted against a partner's personal account. Okay. This is just like the case of joint account. And there are special provisions on dealing with bank account in case of death, insolvency, insanity, retirement of partners. In all these cases, the partnership firm stands dissolved and a new partnership firm may be formed. If a new partnership firm is formed, the bank has to obtain new documents, and mandate. And accounts of joint stock companies. You know the popular definition for a company. A company is an artificial judicial person created by law having a perpetual existence and a common seal. Or it can be defined as a voluntary organization of people who contribute money or money's worth to a common stock and conduct a business sharing profits or losses of such a business. There are rules for opening accounts of companies and operations. The company should provide documents like certified copies of memorandum and articles of association and certificate of incorporation. Memorandum of association is such a major document of a company which states its objectives, capital subscription, its line of business, etc. Articles of association contain internal rules and regulations of a company, like procedure of conducting a board meeting, uh, decisions on dividend policies, organization structure, etc. And certificate of incorporation is provided by registrar of companies, and names of directors of the company as stated in the articles. In case of public limited company, a copy of certificate of commencement of business is issued by registrar of companies. So without this certificate, a public limited company cannot start business. And a copy of resolution appointing the bank as company's bank and names of person authorized to operate the account. Usually, a resolution is passed during the board meeting appointing the bank as the company's bank, and some persons will be selected for operating the account. So such details and that resolution copy must be provided to the bank. And mandate must be given. Mandate means account operating instruction. Mandate should contain the names of persons who are authorized to operate the account and their specimen signatures, and also the nature and extent of powers delegated to those persons. And the bank can stop operations in the account if the company goes ultra-virus. Ultra-virus means the bank is doing business against memorandum of association. It means the company is violating the clauses stated in memorandum of association. The company is going beyond memorandum of association, that is called ultra virus. In such cases, if the bank notices it, it can stop operations in the account. And director's personal account and the company account cannot be combined. They cannot be set off. And winding up of the company is communicated to the bank by court, and the bank must act accordingly. Next, accounts of executors and trusts. Any person makes a will at some point of time in life. An executor is a person to whom the execution of a will is entrusted by the testator. Testator means maker of the will, the person who makes the will. So an executor is usually an advocate. A trust is an obligation annexed to the ownership of a property arising out of confidence reposed in and accepted by the person for the benefit of another or of another owner. That property may be immovable property, documents, intellectual property, funds, or anything. You might have heard about some NGOs, sports organizations, and some trusts which works for a particular purpose. For example, a charitable trust works for collecting charity for the welfare of a particular segment of people. So that is called a trust. It is for a particular purpose. There are rules for opening of account of executors and trusts and operations, like copy of the trust deed is to be examined to ascertain the powers and functions of the trustees. In case of two or more trustees, unless specifically stated in the trust deed, all the trustees will operate the account jointly. On the death of one or more trustees, the authority will be vested in remaining trustees. When all the trustees are dead or retired, new trustees will be appointed by the court. And the banker must be familiar with the terms and conditions of appointment. So he collects trust deed. And powers of joint executors and trustees, if any. If there are more than one executor and more than one trustee, the bank must know what are their powers, and action to be taken in case of breach of trust, persons having powers to borrow, trust account and personal account of a trustee cannot be combined. Suppose a trustee or an executor has taken a loan in his individual capacity, and also the trust has taken a loan in its own capacity. These two accounts cannot be combined. Okay. Hindu undivided family or joint Hindu family. HUF is a unique form of business organization, particularly found in India, in which the family business is inheritable. The members of the family are called co-partners, and eldest male child is the manager or karta. When an account is opened in the name of HUF, all the adult male members have to sign, even though the karta would operate on the account. So usually in case of HUF account, karta is the operator and co-partners just sign at the time of opening the account. And the business is ancestral, inheritable. The co-partners are liable to the extent of their share in the family property, and they have no personal liability. So co-partners are not personally liable, only karta is personally liable. The karta has an implied authority to avail loan and execute the necessary documents. To be on a safer side, the loan documents should be signed by the adult male members. Names of male minor co-partners should be kept on record and their guardians must sign the documents on their behalf. While opening the account and on the checks issued, use of the word HUF is essential with the name of the unit. The account is operated by the Karta, head of the family. If it consists of various branches, the other major means more than 18 years. Major male co-partners are allowed to operate on the account. Next, rule in Clayton's case. This is a popular case in England's court between Devayanis and Noble. It is of great practical significance to bankers, especially in case of running accounts like current account and cash credit account, because current account and cash credit accounts can run into debit or run into credit. So they can have either debit balance or credit balance frequently. The rule says where the account goes into debit, the first item on the debit side is cancelled by the first item on the credit side. That is, appropriation takes place in the order of time. And where the account goes into credit, the first item on the credit side is extinguished by the first item on the debit side, and so on. In other words, appropriation takes place in chronological order. Here we have an account of a customer. The left side is debit side, the right side is credit side. In the order of time, we see on January 1st, there is a loan dispersal of 3000 rupees, and on January 10th, there is a loan dispersal of 4000 rupees. On January 15th, on the credit side, there is a cash deposit of 5000 rupees. The customer has deposited cash 5000 rupees. And on January 16th, there is a cash deposit of 3000. So how to appropriate this? Clayton's rule says first debit is cancelled against first credit in the order of time. So first debit is 3000 in the order of time, that is January 1. First debit is 3000. First credit is 5000. Okay, this 5000 and 3000 are set off. Okay, so 5000 minus 3000, 2000. So 2000 cash has remained in the account. Okay, then it is set off against all other debit items in chronological order. So in short, first item in the debit side is set off against the first item in the credit side. This is the rule. Okay. Thank you, students. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. If you have any doubts, queries, or need any clarification, please feel free to WhatsApp me at my number or leave a comment in the comment section. Thank you once again.